Welcome back to another episode of Cocktails. Thanks for joining us again. The channel where I give you the behind the, let's say, scenes insight to what really happens behind the badge. Hopefully this channel, well, this particular video doesn't just give you the insight behind the badge, but it actually helps you deal better with police officers. I think the information I'm about to share in this video is very valuable, so make sure you watch all the way to the end. So it doesn't matter even if you're everyday citizen or you're an auditor or you want to become an auditor. This piece of information I think will serve you greatly. And that is this. Always remember, police will police according to their experience. Police will police according to their experience. And what that means is this. I'll give you a good example of me, right? So before I became a police working on the roads, I actually worked in the jail system first, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. And with that being said, I left there and I moved to Georgia, and I came up to join one of the departments in Georgia. Well, I'll tell you this, citizens are not the only ones that are lied to in this profession. So in my experience, I was told, hey man, you have a great resume. We want to hire you. You come up, you work for us. And I was like, okay, because I wanted to go into law enforcement. And so I was told I would receive funds to help with my transition, because it's not just me, it's my wife, my children, and we're making a big move from one state to another. I was told I was going to receive help with finding a place to live. Well, long story short, none of that ever happened. And so when I became really upset with this particular department, so I applied to different departments who offered me a job. So I was leaving this particular department. So this department then stated, well, what if we give you the funds that they initially promised me? What if we give you the funds, would you stay? My thought was, where were the funds when I was there? Why didn't you just give me the money then? I needed it. And let me tell you why I needed this. And this is going to go into the story that I'm about to tell you. The reason I needed the funds so badly, because while me and my wife, we were making this state to state move, we had a big setback financially. So once we arrived from Florida to Georgia, we were struggling pretty bad financially. And we didn't know about the taxes with the vehicles, switching the vehicle registration from one state to another. It was all new to me. And so we couldn't afford to register our vehicles in Georgia. And so get this, myself, almost a year, my tag was expired. My wife, a little over a year. So we couldn't afford to renew our registrations or transfer our registrations. And it was pretty bad. And so with that being said, it's like I understood, and I still understand to this day, the financial struggles that some citizens can have. And by being a cop and you pulling someone over and you're not trying to understand their situation, you just think everyone's a criminal, you push them further into a hole. So for example, had I got pulled over and received a citation, then I wouldn't have been able to pay that citation, nor would I still would not have been able to get my tag renewed or transferred over, which would have just started opening up more cans of worms, and I would have went further into that hole. And so when I became a police officer and I got on a department and I'm settled and I'm working, one thing I never pulled cars over for or I never wrote a citation for was expired registrations. Because my thought process is this: if you can't afford to pay your registration, you're not going to be able to afford the citation either. But if I pulled a car over and it was for something else and it happened to have an expired registration, I would inquire, why is your registration expired? Because, you could have a situation that was much like mine. So for that reason, I never wrote those citations. I never wrote expired registrations. I mean, just think about it. Again, you're trying to go to work to get the money to pay for your registration because, let's be real, we're not in the best economic situation right now. or even back then when I was working, we still weren't in the best situation. You know, you had different things affecting different people's jobs, like COVID and things of that nature, where businesses were shutting down. So to write a ticket for such a minute thing that could cause somebody such a major issue and different problems within their life, I just didn't feel right doing so, because I myself understood what it was like to be there. And this is what I mean when I say police will police according to their experience. If you have an officer that stopped you, it's a good chance, if he has some type of life experience, if he's going through some hardships himself or herself, that they will be more likely to understand what you are going through. Now, keep in mind, a lot of times you're dealing with police officers who have never been through anything in life. You know, they went to school, high school, maybe college, graduated, maybe, and then they became a police officer. I will tell you this, a lot of police officers who work for the department that I work for still live at home with their parents. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, you know, because times are hard. So sometimes you have to make things work. But what I am saying, and my point that I'm trying to make, is this: if you've never went out into the world and experienced anything, for example, if I never experienced that tag situation, maybe my mindset would have been different. So now I will pull someone over for, hey, your tag is expired. Hey, no excuses. Here's your citation, because I don't understand. I don't have that experience. So this is what I mean. Police will police according to their experience. That's a small example. That's a really small example I'm giving to paint a more major picture. And I'll give you another story. You're going to see what I mean. Well, actually, before I tell that story, let me give you another experience. This one wasn't so much a personal experience that I had an issue with this particular experience, but I still had financial struggles. So I knew what it was like. So one night, I don't know, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe 1:12, somewhere in that area, I pull over a vehicle, and it's a female driver, and she has a female passenger, a little kid. And this vehicle has no insurance on it. Now, in the state of Georgia, if you don't have insurance on your vehicle, no ifs, ands, or buts, your vehicle's going to be towed. What I would do, and what other officers that were on my shift at least, what we would do, we would at least give the driver time. Hey, can you call, I don't know, find somebody open, Progressive, whatever, I don't know, and see if you can insure your vehicle. Go online, see if you can get some insurance, because we really don't want to tow your vehicle. I stopped this car. It was a female driver, and when I approached the driver's side, she is shaking, she's petrified, she's scared, and I know she doesn't have insurance because I ran the tag and it said no insurance. And this is one of those stories I really feel horrible about. You know, I feel bad about. You guys probably like, oh my God, you took her car. No, I didn't. Just wait till the end. But I still felt bad regardless. So I'm talking to her. Hey, you have insurance? She's telling me I don't have insurance. So I'm like, ma'am, you know, you're not supposed to be driving. She states that I know, but I just got off of work and I work in a warehouse, and this is late. This is really late. And she goes, I just picked up my daughter and we went to the Walmart and she was hungry. We don't have any food. And I went to Walmart to get some food so she can eat. Gonna take her home. We're gonna eat, get some rest, and I have to do this thing all over again tomorrow. And I felt really bad. I'm like, wow, you know, because as she's talking to me, and as I did and all cops do, we're looking through the car. I look inside of the vehicle and I see all of her work clothing. She has like a hard hat and a vest and, you know, boots and everything back there. And she also has like 2 bags of small food. So I'm like, yo, she's telling the truth. She's really telling the truth. And I'm feeling really bad. I'm like, wow, okay, can you get insurance? Now here's the catch. Here's the dilemma. It's the catch 22. If I don't tow her vehicle and she leaves and she goes out and she gets into an accident and she hurts someone, they're going to look at the last officer who made contact with her and they're going to ask me, why did you not take the vehicle? Because there was no insurance. And it's like, oh my God. So I'm going to put my career on the line, or am I going to tow her vehicle but I understand the situation that she's in. Mind you, had I never struggled with finances myself, had I never gone through these things, I may have been a cop like, yeah, well, oh well, give me your vehicle. Because I know plenty of cops who I've seen these things before where I actually had a conversation with one cop like, did we really have to tow his vehicle? Like, was there no other way? And this was a cop, I'll be honest with you. If he ever sees this video, he's gonna know I'm talking about him. This was a cop I really did not like. I really did not like this guy. He was an asshole. He just made his day to go out and ruin someone else's day. I did not like this guy. To be honest, I don't think a lot of other cops on the department liked him, but he was just that type of guy. I just didn't like him. So we had a conversation like, man, do you really have to do this? So I never wanted to tow anyone's vehicle. I'll be honest with you. Have I towed vehicle? Yes, I have. There were some situations like, okay, I gotta tow this vehicle. But I was trying to use discretion. Let's see. All right. It's not that you're just out here joyride riding and you just chose not to get insurance. You couldn't. You're coming from work. Your daughter's in the passenger seat. She's crying. The little girl's crying. That really broke my heart. She was probably, I don't know, maybe 12. I don't know, somewhere around there. But it broke my heart that she's over there crying. Her mom eventually she begins to cry. So I go, hey, listen, try and get insurance. I go back to my car. I give her like 15 minutes. Comes back. I come back to her window. I go back to her window and she's like, I can't get I don't have any money to get insurance. I was like, is there anybody you can call? Friend, family, somebody? She said, okay, I'll try. I go back to my car. I get the call from dispatch. Are you 10-4? Yeah. Or code 4 we use. Code 4. So I go back. Nothing. She can't get insurance, So now I'm like, okay, so here's what we're going to do. I look at her and I kind of put my back to my car so that, the dash cam can't really see what I'm saying. And I kind of like lip talk to her, like, listen, I'm going to let you go. You go home. Do not go anywhere else. Don't go to a store. Don't go to a gas station. Don't go anywhere, because if you go anywhere and you get into a car accident, I'm on the line. But I don't want to take your car because you're in such a bad situation. And so I'm telling her, like, listen, go. And some of you guys may say, well, Abiyah, you may be a butthole for this next part I'm about to say. But I tell her, I'm going to ride around. I'm going to look for you. So you better not be on this road. Not that I was trying to be a butthole, but I was trying to allow her to go home without having a vehicle towed. And maybe the next day she can find someone to borrow the funds to get some insurance. But at the same time, I was trying not to put myself in hot water or some lawsuit that could possibly happen. So I'm telling her, go straight home. And this lady was so thankful. She was so grateful. And I know it was genuine. It was genuine. And I remember as soon as I got home the next morning, I tell my wife about all of my stories. Like all of the stories that you guys are hearing, my wife's an expert at hearing these things. She knows all of them. So I come home and I tell her about this. But that goes back to policing according to your experience. Had I never had a financial struggle, I would have probably been, I won't say that. But I will say is I probably I would not have understood as much. I don't ever see myself being a butthole cop because I'm just not a butthole person. I get along with everybody. If there's someone I don't get along with, I just kind of stay back and keep to myself. I'm pretty much, you guys see me talking a lot on YouTube. It's because, there's a microphone and there's a camera. So, I'm supposed to talk, but in life, I'm pretty much a laid back guy. I just kind of keep to myself and I, relax, spend time with my family, my kids. That's what I do. Pretty boring, actually. So one more story I'm going to tell you.